Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. This is going to be a part 2 of a video I just made discussing Nick Viall's latest episode of his podcast, a clip about ADHD, neurodiversity, and Elizabeth. And the quote, she made her own Bachelorette promo, which she sure did. Oh, my hair, look at that. It's a rough morning, folks. It's hump day. We'll get into all of it. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at DNeals. And also don't forget, if you want some Olympic coverage, the Dave Neal Show has non-Bachelor related. This is a Bachelor related show. You guys have hijacked it. It's all Bachelor content. So I made a new channel, the Dave Neal Show, which has non-Bachelor related stuff. And you can see my latest video, how China stole America's best skier. And if you want to check out any of my reels, I mean, I'm spitting hot flames over here. Have a listen on Instagram to my latest reel. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm getting very annoyed that we're calling Clayton vanilla. Vanilla is exotic, luxurious, and rare, just like my comedy. All right, folks? If you want to talk about something that's plain Jane, how about strawberry ice cream? All right, so you can get into there. I've started a war between strawberry and vanilla ice cream. Vanilla is not plain. Strawberry is gross in your ice cream. I'll take a shortcake any day of the week and twice on Wednesday. All right, let's get back into this. Here's Nick and Becca Moore discussing Elizabeth's possible try-hard attitude to get noticed for the next season of The Bachelorette.
Be mad at producers for highlighting ADHD, then be mad at them because they definitely used that. But I think we got to know Elizabeth and who she might be from her social media activity following her exit from the show, which, again, doesn't say she's a good or a bad person. Just shows that she is just another person on The Bachelor who came for attention and so desperately wants to maximize her moment from the show.
Oh my
How weird
God.
was that TikTok, though?
Yeah, at first evidenced by Elizabeth made her own Bachelorette promo.
All right, so we'll show that right now. And here it is. Hit play. This is Elizabeth's Bachelorette promo here, which is nice. She's sexy. She's very smart. She's a polyglot, which isn't an insult. A polyglot is someone who speaks, I believe, more than 4 languages. Is that what poly is? Polyamory with a polyglot. That's one way to travel the globe, folks. Okay. Boy, geez, we need to keep our mouth shut. So let's just have a listen.
Who does that? Like,
I love Becca. Who does that? Becca is my new Seinfeld. Who does that? Who makes their own promo for a show they're not even on yet? I mean, really?
Great question. I don't.
It's like proof
She
of
said,
concept
"I'll be
that
back.
she's going
I'll
to
be
show to the
back."
It was
producers.
really good. I mean, like, Katie would have been. There's no doubt Katie saw that and been like, why couldn't have I had something like that? And Elizabeth, well, I don't know if she got help or not, but like, she probably was the EP of that project. You know, she probably coordinated that. It was
Director,
really
writer.
well done. Honestly, my only note for Elizabeth is like, next time, like, start your gait, your walk
Oh my
as
God.
like it started as if someone said action and then she started walking. She wanted.
This is so funny. I'm going to rewind slightly. This is so funny because I would have said the same exact thing. So this is sort of on the line of irreverency where he's judging her. Let's go through his line one more time as he's judging her. This is
Like it started as if someone said action and then she started walking. She wanted to have been walking but other than that, it was really well
my
done.
God.
Really
I don't know. That
well
was,
done.
Can you imagine hitting post on that? Like, that's so embarrassing, don't you think? Like,
That's a lot.
saying that I'll be back, like, is she insinuating that she's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise?
Sure, yeah. I actually like. I think for a good. I think there's a chance that Elizabeth still thinks she has a chance to be the Bachelorette.
And I say shoot your shot. I say go for it. It is, some might call it tacky or whatever. I tell you what, my favorite part is this little wink she gives right here. She does this, then she nails the wink. Right here. Boom. She nails it. Yeah, you never want to go too far on a wink. You never want to be like, get the joke. Like, that's like how a dad winks after he farts. Hey, pull my finger. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? She doesn't do that. She winks in the way where she says goodbye to a guy at a bar and says, I'm in room 212. And then she winks and the guy's like, am I supposed to follow you?
Love Elizabeth.
There it is. You better follow. Knock politely. All right, so let's keep this party going. We're on to something.
Because she's riding. Okay, I can say this because I have ADD.
Oh, boy.
So do you.
Yeah, well, let's
Becca, this is how you get in trouble. I can say this because X, Y, and Z.
preface this is that like Elizabeth posted neurodivergent. I did not know that word existed until Clayton apologized for it. I thought it was interesting that
We discussed this on last season, on Michelle's season, when Ryan had his binders full of notes. We discussed neurodivergency. It's a fascinating topic to discuss, and it's good that we're all talking about it now. This is a good thing, folks. Discussion is nice.
The Notes app thought that was the only word that he misspelled. I didn't know that it was. I had never heard of it. So I Googled it. I went to the website. I took all their tests. I already knew all this. I was diagnosed with ADHD in the 8th grade. I was medicated for it. I got off of it because I didn't like how it affected me. I don't know how your experience with ADHD was.
I just got diagnosed like 6 months ago. Yeah.
And statistically, women are diagnosed later because ADHD shows up differently in them. With boys, it shows up with us flinging boogers at each other or taking all of. I mean, I'm making light of it, but it shows up in a more hyperactive way. Whereas in women, it might show up differently. So this is good that we're talking about it, especially on a show targeted mainly towards women. I don't know about Nick's audience. Mine's 92% women. So a good conversation.
Called absent-minded my whole life. I've been picked on for it. It hasn't always been fun. I've spent 20 minutes looking for keys in my pocket. Stuff like that. I lived my whole life without knowing I had severe dyslexia.
Which, by the way, is the reason. So we're at 2318. Let me just write this down because I want to make sure I don't lose this. We're at 2318, but we're gonna go back to 15. So you'll notice his ADHD takes place right now when I was name dropped and he barreled through it.
Sure, but no, I would love.
I will.
This is going to be on Dave Neal, by the way. Dave Neal's making a clip of
I'll
this
make
right
an
now.
argument.
See how he doesn't, he keeps going because he has to focus on his thought. I experienced this with my fiance who's got ADHD, where sometimes I'll say something so wild and she doesn't even comment on it. And it's kind of fun because I'm just like, where are you? I'll be like, where did you go? I'll just be looking at her and I'll be like, did you just leave this planet? And she'll be like, yeah, I was gone. I was out thinking about something. And that's okay. That's the way their brain works. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. And this neurodivergent website, there's this other thing. I don't know how to pronounce it. I took that test. And while they say it's not a diagnosis, turns out I have signs of severe. Got that too. I'm just saying, I'm part of that community.
But you don't ride off of that.
I don't ride off of it. Also, I just want to, just a note, I'm just curious for the people who suffer from dyslexia. Part of the symptom is in our brains, we mix up words. And why do we call it dyslexia?
It's the hardest word ever.
Every time I try to text someone, sorry about my grammar, my typing, I have dyslexia. It's a fucking journey for me. And I can't Google it because I don't even know where to start.
I know, they're that's the worst when you're trying to spell a word and it's autocorrect can't help you now. You are too.
How about, by the way, speaking of ADHD, how about this producer's laptop? It's got the cover of a composite book. That's fun, right?
Far gone.
Yeah, and listen, sometimes it's a way to explain things. How many, be honest, I've never asked you this question, Allie and Amanda. How many times do I ask you a question and you start talking and you literally see my brain go to a different place?
Frequently.
Is it sometimes frustrating and almost even dismissive and rude?
Yes.
Yeah. And
all right, so Nick comes off as dismissive and rude, and this is why it's important to have empathy and grace for people, because the guy's just trying to work out things in his brain, all right? So a lot of people go, oh, he comes off this way, or smug, or entitled, or opinionated, and it's yeah, but that's just, the cranks in his brain are just trying to get something out, right? We need to have compassion.
And I'm sorry, my ADHD is a reason why I do that. Is it an excuse for...
You don't black out when you're in the hot tub, though.
Yeah,
you don't forget being places.
You don't forget being places.
Oh, boy, they're going to get in trouble for this. No, I understand. Because Elizabeth was criticized for not being for misremembering that Shanae was there at the hot tub, because Elizabeth said, you were never in the hot tub with me. And then they showed the video of that. And Elizabeth says, I can only allow one auditory input at a time. So what we have to remember here is that ADHD is a vast disorder that can affect people in different ways. So some people have to be tunnel focused as they talk, and the chaos around them, they're just hyper zoomed in on the convo, and they can't even acknowledge this because that's the way that they can focus, or else it's all gone to shit. You understand? So everyone's different. So I appreciate the conversation, and it leads to further talk, but just because one person feels a certain way with their ADHD doesn't mean another will feel a different way. Now, it seems like he's arguing don't use ADHD as an excuse, but I really don't want to put words in his mouth here. I think it's just some people are more willing to explain why they think a certain way. And in real life, you don't have to be held accountable the way that they are on the show. So on the show, Shanae's saying, you're not doing this, you're not paying attention, you're being rude. And she's saying, listen, my brain works this way, and this is why I do this thing. And that's important to know. And I think that's okay to tell people that. And explaining something isn't an excuse. Just like I say on my live stream, sort of trying to understand why a villain is thinking a certain way, like a Shanae, isn't an excuse for their behavior, which some people can't wrap their head around. Some people can't wrap your head around that trying to explain why something is happening isn't defending it. It's just mapping it out. Sometimes I feel like we're speaking different languages when it comes to these topics.
It's not a thing. I don't know. She was gaslighting Shanae.
I don't know. Maybe she didn't.
Gaslighting.
You could argue
Well, gaslighting, I believe, would have to be intentional.
that she didn't
But then again, what do I know?
think that was the moment, but it is a slippery slope. And like, if you have ADHD and you're listening, chances are you don't get to blame
No.
in a relationship. Anytime you've ignored your partner or didn't hear something, that can get real frustrating. So
No, I actually disagree. I actually have found it very good for my relationship. The more I've gotten to know my partner and her ADHD, as someone, listen, I'm a comic for a reason. I want to be heard. All right. I do this channel because I want to be heard. And it can be very frustrating when you want to be heard by your loved one. You come home, hey, I had a great set. I want to tell you. And then but she's focused on a reel she's making because it's almost uploaded and she can't quite see me. And I'm like, hello, I'm here. I want to make all this attention. And I have to understand, Dave, her brain's working a different way. She's got to finish this process before she can acknowledge the next one, or she'll lose this process. It's just going to be gone. So I understand the point. Maybe early on in a relationship, you can't expect others to understand your ADHD, but I believe it's with the utmost grace that we can accept our partners for who they are with their ADHD. And maybe this will lead to a further conversation about dating someone or marrying someone with ADHD, because you shouldn't judge the person in the soul for the way that their engine sort of functions.
as adults, we try to work on it. And certainly, as I told this story, like Natalie knows I have it. She can get frustrated, but she also tries to help me out. And one way to help me out, she's done a couple of things. When we go to a restaurant, she will sit. She will sometimes, it seems like she's running to the part of the seat where she's facing the restaurant and I'm facing the wall. Why? Because otherwise my brain will just like observe the most random of things.
All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Definitely go listen to the full episode. You guys know we're not here to hijack their content. It's just a talking point for our channel. But of course, they've got 90 more minutes of this type of conversation. There's been instances where Nick has people said, "Oh, I met Nick and he came off so aloof or condescending, or whatever." It's like, yeah, but don't you realize this is a person who's just trying to get all the inputs, all the stimulation? They're trying to tabulate it all. We just see people as like greater than, and it's like he's just like somebody else. He just happened to be on a dating show and now he's popular, and good for him. Good for him for being, for taking his everyday sort of personality and every day sort of figuring out who he is and applying it to the show. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Let me know for sure. If you want to join the Patreon community, you can go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. And if you haven't already, double check to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You might not be. Please subscribe and also check out the Dave Neal Show. We'll have more content coming to you guys all day long. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye, everybody.